Ethan, who had been engaged to me for years, dumped me in the countryside to fend for myself. 3 years later, he came to pick me up with his first love. He said, "It's been 3 years. Even a dog would have learned by now. I'm doing this for your own good. If you don't change your personality, you can never hope to become Mrs. Ethan." Everyone thought I would spend 3 years crying, feeling wronged and missing him, and clinging to him. But I just smiled calmly. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Ethan, I'm already married." Oh, I had just come back from the market, still carrying the groceries I had just bought. From a distance, I saw over a dozen luxury cars parked at the entrance of the He family's old house. They were all cars I hadn't seen in years. As I walked to the He family's entrance, I heard noisy conversations inside. It's been 3 years. I wonder what that socialite has become. Has she turned into a country bumpkin? She's not a socialite. She's just an orphan girl living with the He family. Does she really think she's a true daughter of the family? Yeah, she's not related to the He family by blood at all. The He family was being kind. Otherwise, she'd be worse than a beggar. Audrey was just young and naive back then. I think after these past 3 years, she must have realized her mistakes. A gentle female voice interrupted those unpleasant remarks, bringing a moment of silence to the courtyard. I had some impression of that voice. It was Sophia, Ethan's first love, whom he held in his palm. 3 years ago, after her father passed away in a car accident, Ethan brought her to the He family's house, and I was sent to the countryside. When he sent me away, he said, "Sophia has lost her family. You're still being so malicious with your words. He's usually so good to you. Do you have any conscience? When you learn to behave, when you become sensible, I'll let you come back. Otherwise, you'll stay there your whole life. I'm doing this for your own good. If you don't change your personality, you can never hope to become Mrs. Ethan." For my good? That sounds so nice. For my good? It was still siding with Sophia in that situation. For my good? It was abandoning me in the countryside and not caring at all. He clearly knew. My emotions were close to breaking down at that time. Hearing these words now, I only felt ironic. It was also thanks to Sophia's kindness that she didn't hold it against him. If it were me, I would definitely make him stay inside for a few years. Sophia said gently, "Audrey is still a member of the He family after all." After saying that, her eyes turned red. "Sophia, don't be sad. That idiot has already been punished. What do you think her expression will be when she sees us later? No need to ask. She'll definitely be crying hysterically, then kneeling and begging to go back with brother Ethan." Ethan snorted coldly. "It's been 3 years. Even a dog should have learned by now. If she hasn't, then she'll stay here for more training." There was a chorus of agreement. "Well, I'm really looking forward to her not learning. That way, I won't have to see her my whole life. Yeah, I hate looking at her shameless appearance. But I think you guys still have an engagement, right?" A voice sounded, carrying a hint of doubt. Sophia heard this and turned her head to look at Ethan. Her eyes were full of expectation. "The engagement? It depends on her performance." After hearing Ethan's words, Sophia moved her gaze away, a little disappointed. Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. I didn't deliberately cover my laughter. My voice was carried by the rising breeze into the courtyard, startling a group of little turtles inside. The person closest to the door turned to look at me and called out in surprise and confusion, "Audrey, you!" His shout attracted everyone's attention in the courtyard. Is that really Audrey, you? How is that possible? Shouldn't she have turned into a country bumpkin? I heard all their discussions. I also understood why they were so surprised. In their imagination, after being abandoned in the countryside for 3 years, I must have long since become rustic, a country bumpkin with a haggard face. Instead of looking like this now, wearing a graceful long dress, paired with a thin knitted cardigan, I had a camera hanging around my neck. My hair and face were well maintained, and I even had a nude-colored manicure. I didn't look like a country bumpkin at all. Ethan's gaze slowly fell on me. He was also a little surprised. "Audrey, you." He called my name, his tone distant, completely different from when he spoke to Sophia. In my memory, I used to be unhappy about this too. And I used to cry and make a scene. But not anymore. Mr. Ethan. I switched the grocery basket in my hand to the other hand and greeted him politely. Hearing me, Ethan frowned slightly. It's only been 3 years. Do you need to be this distant? I'm your fiancé. Is this how you talk to me? Looks like it's still too short. You haven't learned yet. If you keep this up, I'll really break off the engagement with you. I glanced at him lightly. Why did he think I would still like him after 3 years? When I was 10 years old, I became an orphan. The He family grandfather took me in. And at that moment, he announced the engagement between me and Ethan. From that moment on, I knew I would marry Ethan. So in his gentleness, I indulged myself and slowly fell in love with him. When our love was at its peak, he had also said he loved me. He had also said he would marry me when I reached the age of marriage. Until Sophia was brought to the He family's house, everything changed. I watched as my favor was stolen bit by bit. I watched his unconditional favoritism. I cried and made a scene. I even deliberately picked fights with Sophia. Without exception. All I got in return were accusations and anger. Later, Sophia's necklace went missing. Ethan immediately came to me and questioned me. Although I didn't like Sophia, I wasn't shameless enough to steal someone else's things. Moreover, at that time, my kitten, which I had raised for 8 years, was sick and hospitalized. Ethan had given me that cat for my birthday to take care of it. I rented a place near the pet hospital. I hadn't been back to the He family's house in a long time. I held my head high and confronted Ethan. But I didn't expect her necklace to be found in a piece of clothing I hadn't worn in a long time. Ethan hit me and also broke the only memento my parents left me. Looking at the bracelet broken into several pieces on the floor, I rushed towards Ethan like a madman. In the chaos, Sophia fell down the stairs. After that, Ethan sent me to the countryside. And my little cat didn't make it through that summer either. Seeing that I didn't speak, Ethan's expression became a little impatient. Just as he was about to lose his temper, I raised my hand to show him the ring on my finger. I'm sorry, Mrs. Ethan, I'm already married. When Ethan heard that, his frown deepened. Sophia walked forward, linking arms with Ethan, looking at me with a look as if she was looking at a child throwing a tantrum. Audrey, you shouldn't lie. I heard Ethan say he stopped your bank card. So those clothes. You're young. You shouldn't be fooled by those shady people. As soon as she said that, Ethan's gaze shifted to what I was wearing. Then his eyes turned colder and colder. He probably thought about the fact that he had cut off all my financial sources. In their eyes, without the He family's money, I wasn't worthy of wearing such nice clothes. His friends also looked at me mockingly one by one. Someone spoke up. Audrey, you didn't get a sugar daddy, did you? In this impoverished countryside, the person keeping you couldn't be some old man who couldn't find a wife in the village, right? Ethan's face instantly darkened. He looked at me with full of anger. Audrey, don't you have any shame? It doesn't matter if you have no shame. Don't embarrass the He family. Seeing his reaction, he clearly thought I had degraded myself and become someone's mistress. But Ethan, how many years have I known you? Even if you don't like me, you should at least know my character. Do you really think I'm the kind of person who would become someone's mistress for money? I looked around and said coldly, I'd like to ask if you people have any shame. Did you come all the way here just to act crazy? Audrey, you're not like these useless people. Without a man, without the He family, I can still live a good life. Ethan probably didn't expect me to retort. He was stunned for a moment. He sneered, without the He family? Just you, Audrey, Don't overestimate yourself. Don't you think I know what you're thinking? You just want to get my attention. Hearing this, I also laughed, feeling irritated. This person seems to not understand what I'm saying. To get his attention? Is he worthy? I grabbed the egg from the basket and threw it. Ethan wasn't prepared, so he was hit in the face by the runny egg. Ethan. Sophia saw this and cried out in surprise. Ethan closed his eyes, wiped away the egg liquid, and then raised his hand towards me. I quickly took a step back and snorted coldly, What? Mrs. Ethan, do you want to hit someone again? Ethan's movement paused. He took a deep breath. Audrey, you're really something. In that case, you'll stay here for the rest of your life. With that, he strode away. The main character left. So the little lackeys who came to watch the show naturally followed closely behind. Sophia walked at the back. When she reached my side, she whispered, Audrey, I thank you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have seen how good Michael is in a few years. I didn't reply. What you're showing off is the trash I had already thrown away. You like picking up trash. So go ahead and pick it up. After the others left, I carried the groceries towards the house across from the He family's old house. The man inside was on a conference call. Seeing me come in, he muted himself. Then he smiled and took the grocery basket from my hand. I told you to wait for me to finish working so we could go together. Are you tired? I shook my head and followed him into the kitchen. I'll buy groceries and film content at the same time. You'll cook. It's fair. The man suddenly stopped, and I bumped into him, completely unprepared. He turned around, bent down, and pinched my nose. Little troublemaker, when have you ever cooked at our place? I heard it was noisy outside just now. Did something happen? Thinking of what had just happened, I pouted. Ethan came. He said he wanted to take me back. I taught him a lesson. Hearing this, the man frowned. Ethan, that kid. It's good that you taught him a lesson. Lest he doesn't know how to measure things. I looked at him and raised an eyebrow. He smiled slightly. Then he suddenly picked me up and walked towards the bedroom. I know all about your past with him. I'm a little jealous. But you're with me now. That's what's most important. Saying this, his lips approached mine. His kiss was like fire, melting me bit by bit, making me unable to help but get lost in it. The next time I saw Ethan was at Claire Lynn's engagement party a month later. She was my best friend. She specifically came to the countryside to invite me to her engagement party. Unable to resist her pleading, I reluctantly agreed. Seeing Ethan and Sophia again was within my expectations. As soon as Claire saw them, she was like a mother hen protecting her chick. She pulled me behind her and had Henry welcome them. Henry was her fiancé and also a friend of Ethan's. And he pulled me to a corner. Audrey, I'm so sorry. I forgot they would be here too. I smiled and shook my head. I stayed at the He family's house for so many years. Many of our social circles overlap. It's normal for them to come. It's okay. I don't care anymore. I comforted him. After all, I was already married. Claire was surprised. She looked at me with a look of disbelief. You're married? When did that happen? How did I not know? 6 months ago. Claire stared at me for a long time first, then suddenly laughed. You rascal. I knew you were too good to hang yourself on Ethan. That crooked tree. This is how it should be. We don't need someone like Ethan. As she laughed, her eyes suddenly turned red. I knew she was happy for me. When Sophia first appeared, she kept giving me advice, but I couldn't let go, and recklessly wanted to hit a wall. Now I've let go. After crying for a while, she glared at me. Then why didn't you bring your husband for me to see? Are you saying you don't consider me your good sister? He's on a business trip. I smiled apologetically. He won't be back until tonight. Next time, I'll bring him and we'll treat you to dinner together. Claire nodded, satisfied. Suddenly, she grabbed my hand and walked to the center of the crowd, picked up a microphone, and attracted everyone's attention. She said with a radiant smile, Everyone, today I have another piece of good news to announce. She pulled me to her side and introduced me solemnly. This is my good friend, Audrey Yu. She's married. Let's all congratulate her. As her voice fell, the venue fell silent. Most of the people who came to this engagement party were from the social circle. Many people knew that Ethan's fiancée, the eldest young master of the He family, was named Audrey Yu, but they hadn't heard that Ethan was married. Claire enjoyed watching the show. She looked around and asked with a smile, What? Are you unhappy that my best friend is married? Everyone came back to their senses. They all smiled and echoed, How could we be unhappy? We're happy, we're happy. Congrats, congrats. Wishing you 100 years of happiness. May you have a son soon. Amidst everyone's blessings. I kept a shallow smile. Nodding. Sophia walked up to me at this moment, holding a wine glass. She looked at me with a worried expression. Audrey, you've been living in the countryside for 2 years. Now you're suddenly married. Were you deceived by those bad people in the countryside? I know you're still angry. Ethan sent you to the countryside, but he did it for your own good. You're young. Don't be reckless just because you're angry. Marriage is a big deal. You must be cautious. Sophia, are you being too nosy? Even if I marry a pig, it's none of your business. I couldn't help but interrupt her. I really hated her. She clearly didn't like me, but she always pretended to care about me. When I was at the He family's house before, she was also like this. And then, I slowly became someone that everyone in the He family disliked, while she became the person everyone said was understanding. Seeing this act so many times made me feel bored. When I interrupted her, Sophia immediately had red eyes. And Ethan also came over at the right time. He looked at me for a long time, then slowly said, Audrey, enough is enough. After the banquet, I stood alone by the roadside waiting for a car. Ethan's car stopped in front of me. He looked indifferent. Get in. I shook my head. No need. My husband will pick me up. When Ethan heard that, he scoffed. Audrey, how long are you going to keep acting? You can fool others, but everyone knows. You loved me enough to die for me. Someone like you, who would be willing to marry you. Hurry up and get in the car. I won't hold you accountable for sneaking back to a city. Ethan's tone was not good when he spoke. When he saw I was still standing still, his eyebrows were tightly furrowed. He showed a hint of disgust on his face. Did you really find a sugar daddy? Who is so blind? Hearing him say that, I smiled faintly. Mr. Ethan, have you been kept by someone before? Otherwise, why would you think everyone else is being kept? Only someone with a dirty mind will see others as dirty. When Ethan heard this, he looked like he had just eaten a fly. He glared at me fiercely. Audrey, how did you become like this? Looking at his heartbroken expression, someone who didn't know might think he was really in pain. But I haven't changed at all. I've been sharp-tongued since I was a child. My mom even disciplined me for it many times. Later, when I came to the He family's house, my personality didn't change. I remember the first time I talked back to someone in the He family's house. Ethan was laughing on the side. He said a girl needed to be strong. That way, she wouldn't be bullied. It's just that later, when Sophia appeared, he started disliking me for not being dignified enough, not gentle enough. So I suppressed all my sharpness. Now, I'm no longer willing to change for him. Sophia had been sitting in the passenger seat all along, quietly listening to Ethan and me talk. Seeing Ethan's reaction, a hint of a smile flashed in her eyes. Then she kindly advised, Audrey, how can you talk to Ethan like that? He was doing it for your own good. Shut up. I rolled my eyes. I looked at him, speechless. If you don't speak, no one will think you're mute. I'm talking to Ethan. What does that have to do with you? Sophia was choked by me and looked awkward. Just then, a pink sports car stopped behind us, honking at me. I didn't even look. I strode over and got in the sports car. Amidst the roar of the engine, I could still hear Ethan's angry shout. Later that night, I got a call from an unknown number. I answered and found the caller was Jerry Jiang, Ethan's good friend. Audrey, what are you doing? I turned off the music. Having prenatal education. There was a short pause on the other end. He asked in confusion, prenatal education? Is it what I think it is? I nodded. Yes, I guess so. Jerry, stop joking. You and Ethan haven't seen each other in so long. How could you be pregnant? I replied flatly. The child is not his. Jerry on the other end raised his voice. No way. You're really married? And pregnant? I asked in return. What? I can't get married and pregnant? No, it's just that you and Ethan always had an engagement, right? And you always liked him. How could you suddenly get married? You must be lying, right? Hearing this, I laughed. Why do everyone think I'm lying? Marriage is a big deal. How could I lie about something like this? I'm really married. I paused. When we have the wedding, I'll invite you to attend. As soon as I said that, there was a sudden commotion on the other end. Then the call was hung up. I didn't pay it any mind. 9 out of 10 of Ethan's friends thought I wasn't good enough for him. Even when Ethan was at his best towards me. When Sophia appeared, they looked down on me even more. Many times, I heard them badmouthing me. In a moment, another call came in. It was from Ethan. I knew it as soon as I saw it. I answered the phone. Before I could speak, he said, "Audrey, you go get an abortion." I just found it a little funny. Are you okay? Ethan's voice became even more angry. Audrey, I told you to get an abortion. His voice was loud. So loud that I could hear it clearly even without putting it on speaker. I held the phone away from my ear. I said coldly, "If you don't have anything else to say, then I'm hanging up." Didn't you understand what I just said? I've known Ethan for so many years. I've seen him lose his temper many times. So listening to his shouting, my heart was calm. The other end of the phone was still pressing for answers. Suddenly, the phone was snatched away from behind me. Then, I heard Liam's deep, magnetic voice. "Audrey needs to sleep now. We'll talk about it another day." Without waiting for the person on the other end to react, he hung up the phone. I turned my head to look, and met a pair of smiling eyes. He put his arm around my waist. In his breath, I could still smell his body wash, my favorite peach scent. I gently rubbed against him, and his voice, filled with laughter, came from above. "Looks like I need to work harder. Otherwise, your prenatal education will be wasted." I also laughed. I was just making it up. Liam lowered his head and kissed my lips, muttering, "Not anymore." 3 days later, I returned to the He family's house. Liam and I went to see Grandpa He together. He was the one who had brought me back to the He family in the first place. Over the years, he had always loved me like his own granddaughter. However, in recent years, his health had declined significantly. He spent a lot of time recuperating abroad. This time, he returned to the country for his 80th birthday celebration. I heard he would go back abroad to continue his recovery after the celebration. After meeting Grandpa He, Liam took a call and went to the back garden. I found a corner to wait for him. "I thought you weren't coming back." Hearing this, I turned to look at Ethan, who had walked up behind me at some point. He looked at me with a gloomy face. I ignored his expression and smiled. Of course I'd come back for Grandpa's birthday. By the way, I brought my husband to meet him. Ethan looked at me coldly. "What new tactics do you have? Have you been thinking every day in the countryside about how to provoke me when you came back? Let me tell you, stop dreaming. I will never marry you. I'll tell Grandpa later that I'm breaking off the engagement with you." Saying this, he glanced at my belly. "Just take that wild child in your belly and get out of the He family. I never want to see you again." As soon as he finished speaking, a gentle and elegant voice came. "Ah, Mrs. Ethan, the eldest young master. What a grand display of power. I didn't realize that the He family was actually run by you." Ethan's body stiffened. He turned to look at the person who had arrived. My uncle Liam walked up to me, holding my hand. He looked at his eldest nephew in front of him. "I don't dare to be your uncle. You even dared to kick your aunt out." Ethan's face turned pale. His gaze was fixed on the hands I and Liam were holding. He stammered a little. "You said she's my aunt? Audrey, you and you." Liam glanced at him lightly, his voice a little colder. "She is your aunt. How dare you call her by her full name?" Ethan's face turned ashen, but soon he regained his composure. Even during the family dinner afterwards, his expression was normal throughout. It was as if everything that had just happened didn't bother him at all. After the birthday banquet ended, Liam went to get the car, and I stood at the entrance waiting for him. In the meantime, Ethan suddenly appeared and pulled me to a secluded corner. He looked at me with icy eyes. He gritted his teeth and said, "Audrey, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Are you and my uncle deliberately putting on a show for me? Is it?" I looked at him. "You're thinking too much. If I were acting, I wouldn't have come here with him. After all, The two families had a very unpleasant falling out because of Ethan's parents' divorce back then. If it weren't for me, Liam wouldn't have come here voluntarily. Besides, Grandpa, he is really good to me. I wouldn't deceive him no matter what. Ethan has always known about these things. He's just blinded by rage now. He sneered. Then you're doing this for revenge, aren't you? Revenge because I abandoned you in the countryside for Sophia. Audrey, I told you that as long as you behaved yourself, you would become Mrs. Ethan. What are you doing now? Looking at his bloodshot eyes, I suddenly thought of Sophia. The day she first arrived at the He family's house, Ethan had promised me. He said that even 10,000 Sophias couldn't compare to me. He said I would always be his little princess, the person he loved most. But later, for Sophia's sake, he accused me again and again, and even hit me in the end. I still remember the crisp sound of the jade bracelet falling to the ground. It was like my heart shattered into countless pieces. I moved my gaze away and looked at the vibrant flowers blooming not far away. Ethan, you should have known from the moment you protected Sophia behind you that there was no future for us. Audrey, am not a generous person. I cannot let bygones be bygones. So, we are like that broken jade bracelet. It's impossible to go back to how things were. Now Liam and I are married. You also have Sophia by your side. Let's each live our own lives. A complex look flashed across Ethan's face. He was silent for a moment. He said, Audrey, why are you so heartless? You are in my heart. Really? I just felt Sophia was pitiful because she lost her parents. His voice trembled slightly, as if he was trying to control his emotions. Hearing this, I just smiled sarcastically. If Sophia losing her parents makes her pitiful, then what about me? I lost my parents when I was 5. My grandfather, who I depended on, died when I was 10. Am I not pitiful? How biased can a person be to say such a thing? If he really had me in his heart, why would he have abandoned me in the countryside for 3 years and not cared at all? I looked at him and softly asked, Ethan, do you remember why I came to the He family's house? Ethan's body stiffened. His face turned pale. He opened his mouth, wanting to explain, but in the end he didn't say anything. I didn't see his expression. I just rolled up my sleeve, showing him the scar on my hand. Maybe you don't know. When you kicked me to the countryside, I suffered from depression. I attempted suicide several times. Many times I thought I wouldn't make it. But fortunately, I finally pulled through. And I met someone who truly loves me. Just then, car headlights flashed not far away. It was Liam. He was here. I'm leaving now. He lowered his head and didn't speak. I pulled my arm free from his tight grip, turned around and left. After the car had driven far away, I received a message from Ethan. Audrey, you said you would only marry me in this life. Yes, I did say that. When I loved Ethan the most. At that time, I thought I would definitely marry Ethan in the future. I thought Ethan would only love me in this life. So I said those words confidently. But now I've broken my promise. Because you turned away first. Ethan, I didn't reply. I casually threw my phone onto the back seat. Liam glanced at me out of the corner of his eye and asked, was that Ethan, that kid? I lightly nodded. Yes. That kid has been really out of line these past few years. Thinking everything belongs to him. He'll understand when he figures things out. Hearing this, I smiled and looked at him. What, aren't you jealous? This guy wasn't exactly generous. He had forced me before to throw away everything I had brought from the He family to the countryside. Liam didn't speak, but soon found a secluded place to park. He bit my lip and said in a harsh tone, because I love you, then I have to accept everything about your past. Besides, you're my wife now. I won't lose you. I smiled and kissed her back. Not only would she not lose me, I would also not lose her. After that day, I never saw Ethan again. Claire invited me to go shopping. As we walked, she kept complaining about Ethan. Ethan is crazy. He's not quite right in the head. Henry told me that the night of my engagement party, he somehow smashed the bar to pieces. You'd think he had a crush on me. As she spoke, she couldn't help but laugh. After laughing, she continued, But I haven't seen Ethan in a long time. A few days ago, Sophia even asked Henry if he had seen him. Where do you think that guy went? My fingers ran across a row of clothes. Who knows? That night, I was blocked at my doorstep. Ethan, smelling of alcohol, blocked my way. Audrey, I had a nightmare yesterday. I dreamed you were married. Married to my uncle. Tell me, this is all fake, isn't it? Didn't you say you'd marry me? You said you'd only marry me. How could you marry someone else? I watched him take out his phone and call Liam. As soon as the call connected, he suddenly snatched the phone away and slammed it on the ground. His eyes were red. Audrey, say it. Say you only love me. Say you'll only marry me. Say it. Say that you and Liam are lying. It's all fake, isn't it? He slowly knelt before me, his tone humble, as if begging. This was an Ethan I had never seen before. He looked as if he truly loved me. If it were in the past, I would have definitely hugged him and cried my heart out. But now things were different. I looked down at him and said indifferently, Ethan, if you want to play the role of a man deeply in love, please go find Sophia. I don't need it. He lowered his head. I couldn't see his expression. After a long time he slowly said, Audrey, I know I was wrong. I went to the countryside these past few days. I saw all the traces of you living there for 3 years. I met the therapist you saw back then. I know I was wrong. If possible, can you give me a chance? To make up for the pain I've caused you over the years, I can take you to a place no one knows about. Just the two of us. I'll make you the happiest woman in the world. Okay. My love. Hearing him call me my love, I felt a little dazed. Since Sophia appeared, he had never called me my love again. He had always used my full name. Now he was calling me my love again. But I felt no joy at all. No, I said. We're over. It's like my jade bracelet. It's already broken. After saying that, I stepped over him, preparing to leave. He grabbed my hand and didn't say anything. But I could feel his hand trembling slightly. But I ignored it, just looking at the person walking towards me, and slowly smiled. Liam walked over with a stern face. He first pulled away the hand that was holding my arm. Then he pulled the person on the ground up. He punched him repeatedly, punching him until his face was bruised and swollen. Only then did he stop. Ethan, considering you're my nephew, I'll let you off this time. But never let me see you again. And stop looking for my wife. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. After saying that, he wiped his hands clean. He walked over, took my hand and walked home. And Ethan was like a used rag, discarded on the ground, not moving. That day, Liam kept me busy for a long time. And Ethan never came to find me again. We met again at a conference a year later. His face was gaunt. He was with Sophia. I nodded to them politely. Then I went to find my seat. As I was leaving, I could feel his gaze remained on me. During the break, Sophia found me. Audrey, since you're married to Ethan's uncle, can you please stay away from him? Don't always try to find chances to get close to him. Okay. Do you know how he's been living these days? For you. He's been risking his life. I looked up and met her gaze. She was still so self-righteous. So annoying. I said coldly, Miss Sophia, what he does is none of my business. Besides, I was invited to this conference by the organizers. I don't have the power to influence the organizers. This conference was led by the government. Only people who had made contributions in various industries could attend. If Sophia wasn't foolish, she would know. It was impossible for me to be invited here casually. Hearing this, her expression froze. She clearly also thought of this. She hesitated for a moment, wanting to continue. But I wasn't Ethan. I wouldn't indulge her. I continued directly, moreover. I'm Ethan's uncle's wife, your elder. You and he are friends. So I'm considered your elder too. Didn't anyone teach you how to talk to your elders? Hearing this, her face stiffened. It wasn't that she didn't know. She just got used to it. She got used to placing me in a low position, which is why she spoke so recklessly. She bit her lip and hesitated for a long time, but still didn't call me aunt-in-law. And when she saw my smile, she said through gritted teeth, Audrey, what are you so proud of? You're just relying on Liam to be here, aren't you? What's so great about that? Don't think I don't know. You married Liam. Just because he's richer. I didn't respond. I just looked behind her. Ethan, you're here at the right time. Quickly take her away. Sophia was startled. She turned around and saw Ethan with a gloomy face behind her. She panicked and opened her mouth to explain. But before she could speak, Ethan grabbed her and walked towards the exit of the venue. Seeing him leave, I felt a little regretful. I regretted that he didn't see me as an outstanding representative, invited to speak on stage. So he didn't know that I didn't need to rely on a man. I was my own support. In the second half of the conference, I was invited by the organizer to speak on stage. From the moment I stood up, I could feel a gaze fixed on me. It stayed until I walked to the front of the stage and stood still. I didn't look for that gaze. Instead, I began my speech. Hello everyone, I am Audrey Yu. As the last sentence fell, the venue erupted in warm applause. I smiled lightly and looked down at the audience. Then, inadvertently, I met Ethan's eyes. In his eyes, there were some things I had never seen before. Amazement, admiration. I just pretended not to see it. I quietly turned my head. Until the conference ended, Ethan walked towards me, against the crowd. He looked at me for a long time, then slowly said, Audrey Yu, I didn't expect you to be so capable now. I looked at him. I have you to thank for this. 3 years ago, you sent me to the countryside. I was alone and helpless. In the first year, I suffered from depression and even attempted suicide. The last time I was hospitalized due to a suicide attempt, the patient in the bed next to me really liked filming videos. He said he wanted to record all the beautiful things in the world. That way, he wouldn't have lived in vain. At that moment, I suddenly had a realization. I also started using videos to record all the beautiful things around me. Then through videos, I learned about many beautiful intangible cultural heritage crafts. They were also trying not to be forgotten, trying to use their remaining years to contribute. It was like me. I was trying to find meaning in my future. So intangible cultural heritage started appearing in my videos. Initially, I simply hoped they wouldn't be forgotten by others, because to be forgotten means to disappear. Unexpectedly, after the videos were broadcast, they received a lot of attention. I also became a video blogger, not famous, but not unknown either. A year later, I met Liam. He was sick. He returned to the countryside to recuperate. At that time, I was still living in the He family's old house. Every day, I would film some daily life footage. While filming a heavy snow, he suddenly appeared in front of my camera. Noticing my camera, he didn't hide. Instead, he smiled. He said, "Are you the video blogger Late Wind? My name is Liam. I've wanted to meet you for a long time." Later, he accompanied me as I traveled around, witnessing many intangible cultural heritage crafts. While we were making a phoenix crown for one episode, he proposed to me. Thinking of the past, I smiled slightly. Looking at my smile, Ethan seemed a little lost in thought. He looked somewhat nostalgic, and also a little sad. I don't know what he was thinking about. I didn't want to know. I tucked my wind-blown hair behind my ear. I was about to leave. As I was about to walk past him and leave, he suddenly held out his hand in front of me. I instinctively took a step back. After regaining my balance, I finally saw what was in his hand. It was a jade bracelet. It was 70% similar to the one my parents left me. He said this jade bracelet was my compensation for you. See, is it very similar to yours? His tone was still hopeful. But my attention wasn't on the jade bracelet. It was on the scar on his wrist. A scar very similar to mine. Noticing my gaze, he smiled sadly. I guess there's at least one thing we have in common. I looked up at him, and then sighed. Ethan, you should know. We were over 3 years ago. Everything you're doing now is just bothering me. No matter how much you don't believe it. I'm already married. So please stop appearing in front of me. Okay. With every word I spoke, Ethan's face got paler. After finishing, I didn't look at him. I just walked past him. Behind me was the sound of the jade bracelet hitting the ground. and suppressed sobbing. After that day, I really never saw Ethan again. Even when I went to the He family's house to see Grandpa, I never ran into him again. Even Sophia disappeared. Later, I found out that Sophia had moved out of the He family's house. It was Ethan's decision, and Ethan had cut off contact with Sophia. Sophia had been trying to find Ethan everywhere these past few days, but Ethan always avoided seeing her. Because of this, Sophia even came to find me a few times, but every time she appeared for a few minutes, someone would come and forcefully take her away the next moment. I asked Liam. It wasn't him. I originally thought life would continue like this, but I never expected to hear news about Ethan in this way one day. His friend called me. His words were full of anger. He said that for the past half a year, he had been drinking heavily and was almost never sober. But 2 days ago, he woke up in the middle of the night, suddenly clamoring to go find me. He got into a car accident as a result. He was fine, but his leg was severely injured. He might never be able to stand up again. We all tried to stop him, but we couldn't. Jerry said with a hoarse voice. He cried and said, "That tomorrow is your birthday." He had already missed it for 3 years. He couldn't miss it again this year. He cried so sadly. We were all so sad to see him like that. We should have known better than to let him do as he pleased. Audrey, he did all this for you. I leaned in Liam's arms and touched my belly. I quietly hung up the phone. Liam lowered his head and kissed my hair, comforting me. This is not your fault. I know. I just think it's absurd. When the person is right beside you, you don't cherish them. When they leave, why pretend to be so deeply in love? Better late than never. Love is cheaper than a dog's love. I have always understood this principle. That's why I never went to see him, not even once. Half a month later, late at night, I received a message. It was from Ethan. Audrey, I'm sorry. I didn't reply, because my story with him had already ended. From now on, we are strangers to each other. And